if your mind already feels like too much inside your own house. Imagine living where the temperature drops to minus 71 degrees Celsius. Here, if you stand still for too long, your body literally freezes. But there's something even more dangerous than the cold outside. It's what can happen inside your head. In a place with endless nights, real risk of death, and almost no one on the streets, anxiety could easily destroy you. In this video, I'm going to show you how people living in the coldest place on Earth don't lose their minds, and how you can copy their strategies, even if where you live is plus 40 degrees Celsius and not minus 71 degrees Celsius. My name is Luis, and this is how not to lose your mind at minus 71 degrees Celsius. We're going to use one of the most extreme places on the planet as a real-life laboratory to understand anxiety, and more importantly, how to live with it without going insane. You don't need snow. You don't need minus 71 degrees Celsius. You just need to see what they do to survive and bring those same principles into your everyday life. Let's start with the obvious. Minus 71 degrees Celsius is not just a bit cold. It's the kind of cold where if you walk outside with your skin exposed, your nose starts to freeze in minutes. Your eyelashes turn white. Your breath becomes tiny ice crystals in the air. The ground is frozen all year long. Water pipes can't work. If the central heating fails, houses can become unlivable very quickly. In winter, there are only a few hours of light. People disappear inside their homes. The streets look empty. Now imagine this combination for anxiety. Real risk of dying if something goes wrong. Long darkness, isolation, and a mind that loves catastrophes. What if the heater breaks? What if I get stuck outside? What if no one finds me in time? This is a perfect recipe for panic. And yet, most people there are not living in a constant panic attack. Why? Because living in the coldest place on Earth forced them to build systems that also work extremely well against anxiety. Lesson 1. Routine. How structure calms an anxious brain. 2:30 to 4:30. The first thing you notice when you look at daily life at minus 71 degrees Celsius is that nothing is random. People don't wake up and say, "Let's see what happens today." They have a precise routine. What time they wake up, when they feed animals, when they collect water, how long they can stay outside, when they come back. Why? Because if they improvise too much, they can die. For anxiety, this is your first lesson. An unstructured day is a playground for your anxious mind. The more empty space your day has, the more room your brain has to invent problems. People in extreme cold don't survive on motivation. They survive on routine. So ask yourself, what are the 3 to 5 things in your day that should happen no matter what? Like your own survival routine? A fixed wake-up time. A real meal at a real hour. 10 minutes of movement. 5 minutes of breathing or journaling. And 1 moment of connection with someone. It doesn't look heroic, but at minus 71 degrees Celsius, and also inside your anxious mind, it's boring structure that keeps you alive. 5. Lesson 2. Layers. How people dress and how you protect your mind. 4:30 to 7 o'clock. At minus 71 degrees Celsius, nobody wears just a jacket. They wear layers. Underwear, thermal base layers, shirt, sweater, thick coat. Socks, thicker socks, boots. Scarf, mask, hat, hood. Why? Because one single layer can always fail. With anxiety, we try to do the opposite. We expect one thing to save us. If I just find the perfect therapist, if I just find the perfect breathing exercise, if I just take one pill, then my anxiety will disappear. At minus 71 degrees Celsius, nobody expects one jacket to solve everything. They build a system of layers. Your mind needs the same thing. One layer might be breathing exercises. Another is physical movement. Another is sleep hygiene. Another is therapy or medication. Another is boundaries with people who trigger you. None of these alone is perfect, but together, they work like layers of clothing. If one fails on a bad day, you're not completely exposed. So instead of asking, "What is the thing that will cure my anxiety?" ask, "What are the layers I can build slowly to protect my mind?" The same way these people protect their bodies at minus 71 degrees Celsius. Lesson 3. Community. Nobody survives minus 71 degrees Celsius alone. 7 to 9 o'clock. In the coldest places, nobody does life alone. If your car dies outside, you need someone to help you. If the central heating fails, you need neighbors. If a storm hits, everyone shares information, food, warmth. At minus 71 degrees Celsius, isolation is not strength. Isolation is a threat. But with anxiety, we often do exactly the opposite. We disappear. We don't reply to messages. We say, "I don't want to bother anyone." Imagine a village where everyone said, "I don't want to bother anyone," while their house was freezing. That village would not last one winter. So here's the third lesson. Your anxiety becomes much harder to survive if you pretend you can handle everything alone. Community doesn't have to be huge. One friend you can text honestly. One family member you can call and say, "Today is a bad day. Can we just talk for 10 minutes?" One support group, online or offline, where people get it. In the coldest place on earth, warmth is a team sport. In the coldest days of your anxiety, emotional warmth is also a team sport. Lesson 4. Acceptance. Stop trying to control everything. 9 to 11 o'clock. There is one more thing that people in extreme cold learn very quickly. You can't negotiate with minus 71 degrees Celsius. You can't say, "Today I don't feel like respecting the cold. Today I'll just go out in a t-shirt." The cold doesn't care. So they live with a mix of respect plus acceptance. They don't walk outside in fear all day. But they also don't pretend the risk doesn't exist. That's the same attitude you need with anxiety. If you try to completely eliminate any possibility of discomfort, your life gets smaller and smaller. You stop doing things. You stop leaving the house. You stop living. On the other hand, if you ignore your limits and push yourself into every possible trigger with zero preparation, you burn out. The people who live at minus 71 degrees Celsius found a middle point. I accept that this place is dangerous. I respect the rules of the cold. And inside those rules, I live my life. With anxiety, the sentence becomes, I accept that my mind can get anxious. I respect my limits and my triggers. And inside those limits, I still choose to live my life. Acceptance is not giving up. Acceptance is dropping the fantasy of total control. So you can finally start playing the game with the rules that actually exist. So how do you not lose your mind at minus 71 degrees Celsius? You don't do it with willpower. You do it with routine that gives your brain a path to walk. Layers of protection instead of a magic solution. People who share their warmth with you. And acceptance that some things will always be outside your control. And that's the secret. You don't need to live in the coldest place on earth to use what they do. Wherever you are right now, you can start building your routine, adding your layers, reaching out to your village, and slowly making peace with the fact that anxiety is part of your weather, but it doesn't have to be your whole life. If this video helped you see your anxiety in a different way, consider subscribing to the channel. And tell me in the comments, which of these 4 lessons are you going to apply first? See you in the next one.